This is Tim Bell's 10 Facts on Test. What up, testicles? Andrew Test Martin sits in one of the weirdest spots in pro wrestling history. He had a successful career during one of pro wrestling's hottest eras, but he was never quite the guy, despite being surrounded by the biggest stars of the era, whether that be partners, opponents, or just in angles. This landed Test in some of the biggest moments of the Attitude Era, without being the biggest name in the Attitude Era. He was not always used well, sometimes he was used horribly. Before a guy who isn't ranked in the same tier of Rock, Austin, DXs of the world, Test did some pretty cool stuff. And if you want to know more about him, here are 10 facts on Andrew Test Martin. This thing on. Number 1. Test got into the pro wrestling industry because a Planet Hollywood staff member thought he was already a wrestler. After a WWF show in Canada in the mid-90s, Andrew Martin followed the roster to Planet Hollywood, hoping to meet some of the guys. Since Andrew was already so big, the manager assumed he was already a wrestler and let him into the VIP area. There he met Bret Hart and WWF Canada head Carl DeMarco. Bret and DeMarco were intrigued by his size. One thing leads to the other. Bret eventually offers to train him. So for everyone who's like, oh, another football player in wrestling, well, they used to pull dudes out of chain restaurants. Number 2. Test trained with Bret Hart, but also Leo Burke, before debuting as Martin Kane. Andrew trained for roughly 8 months with Bret Hart and Leo Burke, before debuting in the Canadian Indies as Martin Kane, mostly getting used in Battle Royals. It's like a much lower stakes way to get in-ring experience without having to carry an entire match all by yourself. Maybe if Goldberg would have done this, he wouldn't have popped Bret Hart in his tater. Number 3. Test went from fairly inexperienced to quickly working with The Rock and Triple H on national TV. At 23 years old, with roughly 2 years of training and in-ring experience, Test found himself on national TV. Also, Stone Cold Steve Austin was his co-worker, he saw him in the break room and stuff. Andrew debuted October 25th, 1998 on a Sunday Night Heat as the bodyguard of Motley Crue. By December 14th, 1998, Test aligned himself with WWF champion The Rock, and then on December 21st, teamed with The Rock against Triple H and X-Pac. So from paying $30 for an unseasoned hamburger to hanging out with Tommy Lee and The Rock, the Test Martin story. Number 4. He got his name from a mic check. Test made his debut on that heat as Motley Crue's bodyguard. He got his name because he was doing a microphone check. Test. This is a test. Test. Luckily, Hulk Hogan didn't get his name from something he said multiple times. Number 5. Test was in a main event storyline almost immediately. The Corporation was a massive storyline in late 90s WWF. Test found himself working with and/or against Mankind, Owen Hart, Triple H, Godfather, Matt Hardy, and taking part in the Royal Rumble qualifying match that Chyna won to become the first woman in the Royal Rumble. Number 6. The biggest Test storyline was, of course, almost marrying Stephanie McMahon. Test got into the biggest storyline of his career when he started dating the boss's daughter. But first, he had to go through Shane McMahon, who was basically saying, only I get to decide who fucks my sister. This led to the lover or leaver match at SummerSlam 99. Test beat Shane and got his blessing. Number 7. This Stephanie wedding angle kinda killed all the momentum that Test was building. Allegedly, the original plan was for Test to leave Stephanie at the altar and turn mega heel. Instead, on the November 29th, 99 Raw, Triple H revealed that he had drugged Stephanie and married her in Las Vegas. Forget Dusty, we're here for the Cosby finish. From there, Triple H basically took all of the heat intended for Test. Stephanie eventually sided with Triple H, which kinda made Test look kinda like a cuck. Although it does make you wonder that if Test did replace Triple H, as it played out, would he also have sold his balls and soul to TKO? We'll never know. Number 8. Test and Prince Albert formed TNA, managed by Trish Stratus. After the Stephanie story faded, Test turned heel and started teaming with Prince Albert as TNA. Testing ass. managed by Trish, they took on some of the biggest names in that insane tag division of the era. The Dudleys, the Hardys, Edge and Christian. And if you're trying to find some of these matches, just be careful Googling Prince Albert. You may not find wrestling. Number 9. Test wrestled Eddie Guerrero at WrestleMania 17. Test beat William Regal for the European title in January of 2001, then feuded with Eddie Guerrero, ultimately losing the title to Eddie at WrestleMania 17. Easily the best match of Test's career, and it even holds up against that epic card of WrestleMania 17, but if you can't have a good match with Eddie, you gots to go. However, he did, and Test passed the exam. Number 10. Test's final major WWE run was in WWECW. 2006, after time away from the company, Test headed to WWE's ECW. You know, the good ECW. He debuted July 4th, beating Al Snow, later worked with RVD, Sabu, Bobby Lashley, CM Punk, and entered the first and only Extreme Elimination Chamber, the ECW version with weapons and stuff. Test was kind of a Swiss Army knife. He was a solid, serviceable big man who could work with smaller wrestlers, bigger wrestlers. He could work well within a tag team. Obviously, he could do singles matches. And basically, he could just be useful from opening match to a main event angle. But unfortunately, with Test passing away just days before his 34th birthday, a lot of his talent is overshadowed by becoming another pro wrestling cautionary tale, who unfortunately never got that second act redemption arc. However, you gotta love a guy who was so desperate to become a pro wrestler that he chased Bret Hart into a place that serves cold fries underneath a framed photo of Bruce Willis's shoes. So, that's loving the business, brother.